Hey, what's up everyone? Alex here, back with another video of Othello Quest Play, and today I wanted to talk about the 1 minute XOT. So basically Othello Quest introduced a new feature, which is the 1 minute XOT mode. Previously there was only the 5 minutes and the 1 minute mode, and now they have the 1 minute XOT. So basically the 5 minutes and 1 minute mode run on the traditional normal openings, where you start off with the standard board with 2 black and 2 white discs. But for 1 minute XOT or XOT in general, you basically start off with the first 8 moves or 4 moves on each side being played out first. So let's try the pair with an opponent, and then we'll see how it goes. So basically, I've already played a couple of games. So what's different is that they will try to present you with a +/-2 position, but it's basically one of some 10,000 random lines of openings where both colors are being played out. So now I've paired with an opponent. Let's see how it goes. So typically you get something random. So this is almost like a random position after 4 moves are being played by each side. And I think the principles of playing XOT are basically the same. You still want to get the maximum number of this at the end of the game, but at the same time, you have to kind of exercise your kind of fundamental skills in terms of group small and inside that we've talked about in other videos, and also potentially trying to control your opponent's mobility as much as possible. So basically still just playing kind of standard moves whereby you flip as few discs as possible at the start, and then basically try to group your discs together and try to force your opponent to giving you the corner perhaps, and then maybe just kind of slicing and dicing through to find moves to basically nestle yourself inside. So I think I don't know this opponent that I'm playing right now, but it feels like a Japanese kid. I think it might be possible. That's my impression. In terms of how I've been observing his style of play. He's fast and he knows the book well. But I feel like his fundamentals is not as experienced. So I'm just kind of guessing that he might be a Japanese kid. I could be wrong. So basically over here, I think I have a slight advantage in terms of the mobility. So in terms of the fundamentals, I don't feel he's experienced as the top players. But when I'm playing him on traditional openings, he's extremely fast and extremely strong. So I kind of got to the conclusion that he might be a Japanese kid. So just kind of wrapping things up, just formulating the unbalanced edge on the right so that I can just wrap up parity. Grab the corner here, secure this first, and then just basically wrap up the game here, diagonal control, and then last 2 moves. Yeah, so I think this was a fairly good game by me. So let's play a couple more games as I talk through it, and then hopefully you can get a good grasp of how XOT is. So SY0226, I think he feels like a very experienced player. I almost kind of think of a Chinese player perhaps in terms of the style. He's quite strong out of book, so definitely he should be quite a strong opponent for XOT. So basically just trying to regroup and maintain mobility, just construct diagonal cut and regrouping into the center and just kind of heading towards the edge. So before I give away this simple edge to the top, I just want to hope that I can poison it a little bit more before I go in. So now looking for this over here, the cut back into the middle, and then once he removes the G3 disc, I can go for F1 perhaps. So we'll just wait for that one a bit. Okay, maybe just cut to the left first. Yeah, so if he cuts here, he take this one. Probably from the edge first, so I don't want to lose tempo. And then the strength about him taking this is I need to find my way back into the excess here. So I'm just trying to plant the F7 disc. Now kind of grab this disc to regroup back into the center. He can make me form the 6 edge, give that away. And then I'll play kind of like a pair space, yeah, so that I can try to attack the edges, try to find somewhere where he could potentially unpoison my moves. So now I'm threatening to take a diagonal control over here. So it's a very nice diagonal control with extra tempo to the h4. So basically, regardless of what he does, I can still take h4 and still form a kind of parity attack region. And if he takes any time to b7, I'll just grab a8 corner and I'll defend it. So now I need to take this first because he's no longer he's not threatening the corner. So now I can just take this one to write back the corner access, and that was quite lucky outcome for me. So just moving on to the next next game. So we'll just play a couple more, and you know, in XOT there's also quite a bit of element of luck in terms of what openings you get, but that would probably apply more against opponents of your same level or maybe slightly lower. If you're unlucky, you get a very difficult opening. I've seen one that, you know, me and my opponent both has an early X square, and you just have to kind of use your skills to play around it, try to make that position work out for you. I've seen top players like Mr. Ben Seeley from the US. You know, he's been given a very bad position, but he can somehow still kind of play it out into an advantage position for him. So kudos to him, and I think he's probably the top rated XOT player at the moment. He enjoys the game mode a lot because he plays very creatively. So that's something that is really admirable about him. So right now I'm just controlling the edge, the bottom, forming a balance for this edge, and then over here he could approach here. So I'll just maybe poison here. It does look like I'm at a slight disadvantage. I might have to use my tempo to the edge first just to kind of lure him to jump into a5. So if he takes this, I'll just cut into the center. Yeah, so now it's a problem. I need to let him form a solid block to the side, but I'm losing tempo here as well. So just need to hope that I can lure him back to the left. Probably have to do a straight cut here instead of a a4 because I need to make him come over to the left. So that's more like a forced sequence for me. Okay, so this is a bit difficult because if I take g1, it immediately results in a stoner trap. But it looks like I don't really have much of a looks like I don't really have much of a choice. Okay, so I'll just have to try to poison this one. Okay, that's strange. He decided to go with the corner feed. I think he was trying to get parity, but in fact, he gave me the diagonal control, so that's a bit strange. And now I have control of the game. So a bit lucky to get away that one. I probably should have lost this one. And he resigns on the last move. Not very sportsman-like, I guess, but it is what it is. I think people get frustrated when they lose games that they should have won. And that's definitely one that he should have won. So, okay, maybe another just three more games, and then we can wrap up the session. So I think in terms of XOT, it's pretty much the same in terms of the fundamentals, in terms of what you should play. You do get a little bit more time considering the first 4 moves has been played randomly by the software for you. So you do want to maybe take a little bit more time. I think one of the strategies that I employ is that if I'm against an opponent who is probably lower ranked than me, or weaker, or equal strength, I want to kind of play a little faster so that I can pressurize him in the opening. But at the same time, when I'm against an opponent who is much stronger than me, much higher rated, I probably want to kind of slow it down a little on the contrary, just to try to make sure that I make it out of the opening alive, because you don't want to give up too much advantage to your opponent early on, especially when he's a Grandmaster level player. So I think for players of the same caliber or even lower, you can kind of make up for the opening disadvantage in the mid game and end game. So that's just my rationale for playing a little faster in the opening. So as you can see, my moves that I'm trying to make is just basically trying to keep the moves as clean as possible, as compact as possible, make my disc all together, and control these kind of mini diagonals so that I can gain tempo, force him into awkward moves like the C-square to gain access. So yeah, it looks like this game I'm at a slight advantage for sure. But yeah, at the same time, I do want to make sure that I can convert the win, because that's pretty much all that matters when it comes to, you know, Othello. If you miss your win, it could basically mean a whole different world, if you don't convert your win. I think I've experienced that firsthand at a few World Championship where I lost critical games at just the last few moves. So yeah, it's always hard to kind of control the end game for Othello, especially when your opponent is trying to kind of trip you up in the end game. So now I just have to feed this, control this. Hopefully I do get a good result here. Okay, I'm lucky to have the diagonal control over here, so I do have this lucky diagonal control over here. So it was lucky that he did not sweep any more discs. So yeah, that was quite a lucky win for me. Okay, so just 2 more games. Hopefully I can hit 2100. I do want to get like 5 dan, maybe top 10 in the global rankings or something. Yeah, so let's see. So in this position, it does look a little messy where both players are just trying to grab any move in the center, and hopefully kind of come out on top in terms of the tempo control. But in a slower game, you'll probably try to calculate your tempo a little bit more just to make sure that it works out in your favor rather than your opponent's. It's really hard to kind of do that in a 1 minute setting. It just really depends on how much you want to kind of balance the investment in opening versus the mid game and end game. I've played a couple of games where I've invested too much in the opening and then basically just lost out very badly in the mid game and end game because I just simply didn't have time left to try to resolve the problem. So over here, just trying to keep my disc nestled. If you've been kind of watching through the video, you would see, you know, most of my moves are basically just trying to create access to the next move, try to find a linkage. So I just want to form a pair here first on a defensive shape while retaining the access to hit towards b3. So for those of you who are probably still kind of relatively new to Othello, you would probably want to watch a couple of these videos and you would then kind of realize, you know, how a more experienced player would potentially approach the game, and then you can probably build on your strategy from there. So this one is just about establishing an interior disc so that I can play an X square like this, and even if black takes a corner in the future, I can still kind of nestle 2 moves in the middle. So this is the power of kind of the interior control or the interior sweep. So, you know, regardless of which corner he takes, I'll be able to kind of nestle my disc in the center, and controlling this kind of horizontal row is extremely powerful. So now that he's kind of given this away, I'll just grab this first and then just wrap up the game here. Whoa, almost lost by time, but lucky to get away. So yeah, oh, an advertisement just popped up. Let me just move that away, and we'll go into the last game for today. So yeah, I've been trying to move up. Oh, Nigo 53 feels like a Japanese player in terms of his openings, and he's a very strong book player. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how very strong book players kind of play in XOT because they don't have the advantage of the book. So just playing to the top, avoiding he probably form a pair, and then I can go to H6, yep. And then try to progress from there. Feed off the edge. Maybe if he takes the edge, I'll take H3, force an H2. Okay, so he didn't want to give me that one. So I do have to think a little just to calculate the tempo. So I'll probably grab the edge. So now it's a little dilemma. Let me see. Yeah, I'll probably take this in the middle. And then if he takes this, at least I still have H4 to branch out. I mean B6 to branch out. Let's see, maybe just this move. So now I'm trying to find access to c6. He's not making this easy for sure. So now I do have access to c6. I'm trying to go for it. If he wants to prevent it, he has to play the x square. I'm surprised he did. It's a very strong move, but I try to grab now e4 to access c6. And finally I get c6, and he does sacrifice x square. So I think I kind of won in that exchange, but at the same time I only have 10 seconds left on the clock. That's difficult for me for sure. Oh no, I made a huge misclick to the x square just in my haste to play the move because I realized I lost too much time. Okay, fine. So I'll probably give up the corner and then grab this tempo in terms of the swindle. So he'll probably try to target this move and then probably have to try to squeeze out the time a little. So I think he's short of time as well. Oh, okay, so I did manage to kind of win the game with fast fingers. So I think I had a slight advantage, and he was probably stunned by the x square. I actually meant to play just a simple c2 to just nestle my disc in between. He'll probably play something like maybe a5 or e1 perhaps. So, but I do think that, you know, this puts me at a great advantage in this game. So I don't think I would have lost the game. But with the misclick, then it's debatable. But I was lucky to kind of find this swindle. So over here, it just re-emphasizes what you want to find in Othello, especially in the mid game or late end game. You want to find potential opportunities to play consecutive moves in a region. So when you play it here, and while you still have control of this and this, you do have a second move, so your opponent has to play around it, so which is what he did, and that would be too late for him to chase after the move. So as you can see, he probably just lost 2 tempos, and then that resulted in me being able to nestle my disc fairly easily across. Over here, he probably rushed this move instead. He should just play g1, make it difficult for me to play. I'll probably have to slot in, and I guess the final result could have been slightly different. Let me just check. If he played this, then yeah, I probably would have lost the game. So yeah, definitely the x square was a mistake. Anyway, so that marks the end of this session of XOT, and I hope you enjoy the new Othello Quest XOT 1 minute feature. And thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.